Get ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Berardelli and Russ Gallo.
And you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Berardelli here with my co-host, or actually, I think I'm his co-host, Russ Gallo. How you doing, pal?
What's going on, you nasty son of a you-know-what?
Oh, let me tell you.
Gene Berardelli, you're a nasty guy and nobody likes you. Channeling a little Donald
And
Trump
Happy
there.
New Year to you, too.
Happy New Year to you. Channeling a little Donald Trump there for those of you guys who caught the latest from the Trump
Donald
Cruz
Trump
wars.
Donald Trump making the Bible great again this week as well.
Yes, he actually...
at Liberty University, of all
he
places.
admitted that the Bible is better in his own book, so Trump is starting to become a little more...
he's becoming humble. This is good. It's good to learn a little humility. Especially, yes. That's what the election cycle does to you.
In the face of the Bible, I mean...
Absolutely. Hey, listen, we got a great show for everybody today. We got Matt Schlapp coming on from the American Conservative Union. We're going to be talking CPAC. It's that time of year again. I always love going to CPAC. I make no secret about it. It's my spring break.
It's spring break for political nerds.
And it's a lot of fun, and we're going to be talking a lot about that in the coming weeks. And also, we're going to be talking to Dale Bellis from Liberty Health Share, our normal monthly check-in with him. But right now, Russ, let's get into this because so much came out of the last debates here that we had this past week, the Republican debate, the Democratic debate. It's so much to chew on at this point. But it looks like the field is starting to winnow down. I mean, I have at least anyway. Let me put this out there. I'm going to go on record, so to speak. We have a top four, in my opinion, that I think will be around for a while. Oh, good, you're writing it down. I appreciate that. We're talking Trump, Cruz, Rubio, and I'm saying Chris Christie. I'm throwing it out there right now, Russ, because those are the four, in my opinion, that had the best debate performance at this last debate in South Kakalaki.
I think Chris Christie would like to believe he's in the top four, but Chris Christie has a bunch of issues. He can't fight for the conservative wing of the party. He can't fight for the outsider wing of the party. He's trying to fight for the establishment wing of the party, but Chris Christie in his past has... First of all,
he's stammering. I love it.
No, because there's so many things running through my mind about this fake. He gave money. He gave a donation to Planned Parenthood in the past.
He has.
And
then he lied about it during the debate. Let's say it for real. He lied about it during the debate.
He said that Sotomayor would be a great Supreme Court justice at some point. Now he's trying to backtrack and say, well, all he was saying was that she should have an up or down vote in the Senate. That's not what he said. He said that she would make a good Supreme Court justice, and he was pandering then because she was a Hispanic woman. Just like his views on Planned Parenthood, obviously, whatever they were, he gave money to them. So I don't know how you can say that you are a conservative Republican, but have given money to Planned Parenthood in the past. So Chris Christie, he'd like to believe he's in the top four. You might want to make it an even number and throw him in the top four. Chris Christie is not in the top four. He's basically in George Pataki territory.
I only do this, Russ, because, and honestly, let's face it, who had a better debate performance, Chris Christie or Ben Carson?
Okay.
Okay. Who had a better debate performance, Chris Christie or Jeb Bush?
Okay.
Who had a better debate performance, Chris Christie or John Kasich?
But are we talking about debate performances or poll numbers? Or
I'm getting to a point, Russ. The point shall emerge. The point is that Chris Christie's the cream of the crap. Okay? He's not a top-tier candidate. I'm not saying he's even a conservative candidate. But when you look at what else is out there, Carly Fiorina's had her moment. It's come, it's gone. Rick Santorum had his moment. It was called 2012. Mike Huckabee had his moment. It was called 2008. Jim Gilmore had his moment. It was called 1996.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay? So we're not even going to go into everybody else in the field, the and the rest people. But who else has the possibility to rise into a top 4? Not Jeb Bush, not Ben Carson. His moment is come and gone. And not John Kasich. I just don't see it. So basically, by attrition, Chris Christie is your number 4 candidate right now.
So basically, through some arbitrary process, you have decided that there's got to be a top 4.
He's the cream of the crap,
When
Russ.
in reality, you got really a top 3.
Okay, if you want to say that there's a top 3 emerging, I think
the bottom after third, they're all polling at less than 5%.
I can see Chris Christie making a move. That's all I'm saying.
Chris Christie. First of all, let me talk one more thing about Chris
He's the
Christie.
backup establishment guy when Rubio is ineligible.
But
Who said that?
before we figured it out, well, that's what he wants to be. His latest commercials are all bashing Rubio. But before he was even running for president, when he was just trying to run for governor in New Jersey or re-election in Jersey, he was a lot like what we see Donald Trump being today, wasn't he?
Bombastic, arrogant.
But the tough guy
Boastful,
that Chris Christie is, all of a sudden isn't tough anymore.
Oh, he's now the peacemaker. Isn't that amazing?
Now he's trying to be the mature one on stage.
He's trying
the
to...
statesman.
That's not what he's doing. What he's doing is he's showing off his executive experience by making fun of the legislators on stage, a strategy that was endorsed by Russ Gallo once upon a time.
Not 100%.
Check the tapes, everybody. Russ Gallo said that the senators on stage have a distinct disadvantage to the governors because they have a voting record to go on.
No, absolutely. That is true.
You can
They have a
go up
long
against.
voting record.
Chris Christie has taken step 2 of that strategy in saying, not only do they have a long voting record, they have done nothing with their position. They don't know how to lead. And an executive has to actually make decisions, not just vote and pontificate on the floor of the Senate.
Correct, but the brilliance of the senators on that stage and the outsiders like Donald Trump, they're calling out Chris Christie. And they've called out the governors for decisions that they've made. And usually the Senate has a longer track record of votes. And you can see how someone votes over a long period of time where they stand on certain issues. But guys like Chris Christie have to answer for specific things they did while governor of a state, the chief executive as a Republican, supposedly. And there are not as many opportunities to vote as in the Senate. And Chris Christie's history is not conservative at all.
But here's the beauty of Chris Christie's strategy. He has flown so far under the radar to not bother anybody and to basically be insignificant that a lot of these attacks have gone out there. He's responded to them, and nobody's fact-checked. So he may think he's past them at this point because he gets to say, oh, we heard about this in November, or oh, we heard about this in December. We've got past this already. It's a decent strategy for a rhino, a Republican in name only.
A lot of times you don't do the fact-checking if they're polling at less than 5%. I mean, look at...
or in this case,
Ted
less
Cruz.
than 2% because, sliding scale.
I mean, before Ted Cruz really started making a run on Donald Trump, the birther issue was a non-issue. Even though in political circles we've been talking about it for a couple of years now, it really didn't make the news. Now all of a sudden, to Trump's credit, or to Cruz's credit, but they both sort of said this, as Cruz rose in the polls, now all of a sudden it became a major issue. And
Trump admitted it on stage.
He basically admitted it on stage. Now it's something important because Cruz has a chance of winning. So
let's talk about the main event, people, because there is an undercard and there is a main event.
Exactly. So I'm scratching Chris Christie off of our list.
Okay, fine. Let's talk main event. Here's what I'm thinking right now, and I think Marco Rubio has this in mind when running. He will not engage Donald Trump, if you notice in the debate stage in South Carolina. He will engage Ted Cruz because he has the Oppo research done already, and because he's a coordinate senator, one term. They kind of have a lot of parity in that sense.
Yeah, they're both Hispanic. They both have the same base they're going for.
But here's the thing. If you notice, when you have a Rubio-Cruz tete-a-tete going back and forth, Donald Trump's silent. Donald Trump is ignored. Donald Trump doesn't factor in. They actually suck the air out of the room from Donald Trump.
But Trump is polling at 40%, so it doesn't even matter what they do.
And that's the mistake that Rubio is making, because while he's getting more airtime with Cruz, he is not putting a dent in the leader. He's hoping that there's enough in second place to take away that he can kind of overcome that. Second plus third equals greater than first.
Let me leave,
which doesn't work, by the way.
Leave Rubio on the side for 1 second.
Okay.
Here's where Cruz is outmaneuvering Donald Trump.
And he definitely is in a lot of ways. Go ahead.
And specifically, the way I see it is that if Donald Trump were to drop out of the race tomorrow, a healthy portion of those Trump supporters would go to Cruz.
Agreed. Absolutely right.
Now, if it were the other way around, and it's getting more and more like this, let me just preface it with this. So with Trump attacking Cruz, underhanded attacks, some would say, attacking him as a liberal Democrat would attack a Republican, with the birther issue, with saying you're a nasty guy and nobody likes you, baseless attacks pretty much. If Cruz were to drop out of the race tomorrow, I can't necessarily say that those people would go Trump. So Trump has fallen into a trap where he might actually plateau now. 40% is a nice place to plateau with 10 people still in the race, or how many people still in the race. But when you're second place guy, you're alienating his supporters to the point where they can never come on board with you. Trump is flirting with disaster going forward.
Well, let's workshop this out. Where else can Donald Trump find 10.1% from the field? Can he find it through Rubio dropping out? I think that's unlikely. I think you'll get some, but I don't think that you'll get 10.1%. Will you get it from Ben Carson? I think you'll get some, but
some
again,
from Ben you'll get.
I don't think you'll get to 10.1%.
There's got to be a healthy portion of undecided Republican voters still. That's the only way.
That would be the only way, and I think the undecided is a withholding judgment because I think they can't palate Trump. So it is a dangerous game that you're talking about, Russ. But let me counter the argument a little bit. What is the group that most identifies with both Cruz and Trump? The Tea Party.
The Tea Party, the outsider.
Right. So now the Tea Party, to me, probably the most loyal set of grassroots voters you'll find of any segment that we talk about. Not ethnic group, not region. If you're a Tea Party person, you're kind of stuck with two candidates right now. You're stuck with Trump and Cruz. Do you see a Tea Party going to Rubio? Possibly. Do you see him going to Carson? Possibly. But his numbers are dropping, and I don't think Tea Party will get on that bandwagon. I can't see the Tea Party going anywhere else. So it may come to a point where the Tea Party member may not have anywhere else to go but to either Trump or Cruz, if one or the other drops out. It may be support by attrition. There's that word again. I mean, that's one way that a Tea Party could go. Now, again, if either one of them has that much of a market share that half or a quarter of the other person's vote would put them over the top to a majority, that's really all they would need. And once they have that majority, the rest kind of fall in line. So I think there could be something good on the horizon. One or the other will probably crown one or the other. That's just my counter.
Well, I think that Trump, I just want to talk about some of his baseless attacks real quick. The birther thing, first of all, Ted Cruz's mother was an American citizen. No one reputable really is challenging Ted Cruz's ability to run for the White House.
And even if they did, you have to have the proper standing. And even if they did, you still have to overcome a burden of proof and have it decided in time.
And
there's not enough time here.
Critical about, not to be hypocrites here. We did question Obama's eligibility to run for president, but there is no doubt on where Ted Cruz was born and who his mother was. With Barack Obama, there certainly was question as to whether or not he was even born in the state of Hawaii. So it was a totally legitimate question.
This is I think there's more of a case against Marco Rubio than there is against Ted Cruz because, to your point, the questions about the residency and the eligibility of his parents as Americans called into question, sort of like Barack Obama's family has been.
And some of the other things that Trump has been saying, and I think Trump is flirting with disaster on these other issues. So just on the news earlier today or yesterday, he said, Ted Cruz is a nasty guy and nobody likes him. If that's not the pot calling the kettle black, I don't know what is. And mind you, I like Donald Trump. Like I keep saying, I'd rather have Ted Cruz be the nominee, but I can definitely live with Donald Trump. But he said one other thing, which, if this isn't hypocrisy, I don't know what is. He said, I don't know many evangelicals that came from Cuba. Just saying. That's what Donald Trump said. Mr. Trump is not an evangelical last time I checked. I don't even know if he's very religious at all. I know he's out there saying he is now.
He's playing to his base because, believe it or not, evangelicals are turning out for Donald Trump. We discussed that on previous shows. It's a quirky